If you ever go camping in one of America's national forests, remember one thing. If you hear 3 soft whistles echoing through the trees, don't answer. Because sometimes it isn't your friend calling you back. Sometimes it's someone who's spent years turning those woods into his personal hunting ground. My name is Mason Brooks, and when I was 17, I went on one last camping trip before graduation with my 5 closest friends. Logan Hayes, Tyler Reed, Connor Blake, Aiden Foster, Luke Mercer, and I chose a remote trail deep inside Olympic National Forest in Washington. It was one of the most beautiful places we'd ever seen. Towering evergreens, crystal clear streams, and miles of untouched wilderness. There was no cell service, no nearby roads, and no one else around. We thought we were escaping the noise of the world. We had no idea we were walking into the territory of a man who'd been hunting people for years. After nearly 5 hours of hiking, we reached a small clearing beside a narrow creek. We pitched our tents, started a campfire, and spent the evening laughing about old memories. Tyler joked that if a serial killer was hiding somewhere in the forest, Connor's terrible singing would scare him away before we ever had the chance. We all laughed. Looking back, I wish we hadn't. Just before sunset, Logan, Connor, and Aiden grabbed 2 water containers and headed down to the creek, while Tyler, Luke, and I stayed behind to gather firewood and keep the fire going. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then 30. They never came back. At first, we assumed they were trying to prank us. Then, Tyler noticed something lying in the dirt, one of the water containers. It was crushed and covered in fresh blood. The laughter disappeared instantly. We shouted their names again and again, but the forest answered with nothing. No voices, no footsteps, only silence. The kind of silence that still wakes me up in the middle of the night. Luke grabbed the brightest flashlight we had. I'm going to find them. Tyler and I followed without saying a word. About 200 yards from camp, we found Connor's backpack hanging from a tree. Both shoulder straps had been sliced clean through with a knife. Beneath it, there was only one set of boot prints, not animal tracks, not multiple people, just one man. Someone had been watching us. We turned around, planning to head back to camp immediately. That's when we realized every direction looked exactly the same. We were completely lost. Then we heard it. 3 short whistles, exactly the signal Logan always used to call us back. Without thinking, Luke ran toward the sound. Tyler and I chased after him. A second later, we heard him scream. The scream ended almost as quickly as it began. When we reached the spot, Luke was gone. His flashlight was lying on the ground, still switched on. The beam pointed toward a nearby tree. Carved into the bark were 4 words: "You should have turned back." A cold chill ran through my body. This wasn't an accident. Someone wanted us to read that message. Someone knew exactly where we were. We sprinted back toward our campsite. Every tent had been slashed open. Our food was scattered across the ground. Every map was gone. Whoever was hunting us didn't want us finding the way out. Then Tyler froze. About 50 yards away, standing perfectly still between the trees, was a man. He wore an old camouflage jacket, heavy work boots, and a faded baseball cap pulled low over his face. We couldn't clearly see his eyes, but we could see his smile. He didn't run, he didn't hide, he simply stood there, watching us. Then he slowly stepped backwards into the darkness until he disappeared completely.
We grabbed what little gear we had left and started moving in the opposite direction. For the next hour, we heard footsteps following us through the forest. Every time we stopped, the footsteps stopped. Every time we walked, they started again. He stayed just close enough for us to hear him, but never close enough to be seen. Eventually, we found an abandoned fire lookout tower sitting on top of a rocky hill. We climbed inside and barricaded the door. For a few moments, everything became quiet. Then we heard metal stairs creaking. One step, then another, then another. The sound grew closer until it stopped directly outside the door. 3 slow knocks echoed through the tower. Knock, knock, knock. Then a calm voice spoke. "I know you're in there." Tyler and I looked at each other without saying a word. The man chuckled softly. "I've been hunting these woods for 23 years. My blood turned cold. Then he added, "You boys always make the same mistake." The doorknob slowly began to turn. Tyler looked straight at me. "Run!" We smashed through a window and jumped from the second floor. The landing knocked the air out of my lungs, but the first gunshot sent me scrambling back to my feet. The bullet ripped through a tree only inches from my head. A second shot followed, then a third. He wasn't trying to scare us anymore. He was trying to kill us. We ran until sunrise. A forest ranger found us collapsed beside an old logging road, exhausted, bleeding, and barely conscious. Police launched one of the largest searches the area had ever seen. They found our destroyed campsite, Connor's backpack, bloodstains on the trail, spent rifle casings near the fire tower, and hidden beneath thick brush, they discovered an underground shelter. Inside were backpacks, driver's licenses, watches, camping equipment, and personal belongings belonging to hikers who had disappeared over the past 2 decades. But the killer was gone. Investigators believed he knew the forest better than anyone and escaped long before law enforcement arrived. Logan Hayes, Connor Blake, Aiden Foster, and Luke Mercer were officially declared dead. Their bodies were never found. People still ask me how Tyler and I survived. The truth is, I don't think we escaped because we were lucky. I think he let us go. Maybe every hunter wants someone left alive to tell the story. Even now, whenever another camper disappears somewhere inside an American national forest, I don't wonder if they got lost. I wonder if he found them first.